people are subject to mistakes. That's life. I have steam coming off of this because I have tea. Would you rather beat yourself up about it? Think to yourself, so much time has passed. Now I did something really questionable, and now I should feel like a piece of shit? Or are you going to take into account, you know what? I progressed for this long. I may have fucked up right now, but that's not definitive of all the work I have done to get to where I am today. Now, this slip up can be literally anything in your life, okay? The slip up can be lashing out at someone. The slip up could be going back to a person that has harmed you for a long time and speaking to them, because you know that this is what feels familiar. You may be currently struggling right now, and the things that you used to seek solace in, that you may have not for months, suddenly became attractive to you, right? We cannot go back and change anything, but the real change comes from what you're doing now and the tone that you're willing to set for tomorrow. Time is a really valuable component in our lives, and I know in some way it is man-made, that it's a construct, but so are many other things in this world. Money is also man-made, and yet it runs the world. The same things that we do to criticize ourselves, guess what? It's also created by our own mind. Okay, I'm not saying in any way you can get rid of money, that you can convince yourself that money isn't real. Like, obviously money and time, as made up as they are, they exist. Okay, and the same thing goes for every time we fuck up. Because we're human, we fuck up. You know, we may pride ourselves in all the progress we've made, but still, where there is room for improvement, there is also room for error. Now, the way that many of us have been taught to learn our lesson is to get deeply hurt. When you feel hurt, you know how painful that feels. Right? That's usually how we learn most of our lessons. If not through our own pain, then through somebody else's. But when you slip up and you allow yourself to get punched, how does that feel? Right? It's the same way if your friend or your family member or your loved one, they did something that wasn't good for them. Now, you can either approach it from a point of sympathy and say, you know what? You are amazing. You are literally trying your best every single day. To fuck up is fine. But then you'll have some people who are so screwed on the idea of perfection that when they hear someone mess up, there's no room for sympathy. Do you want to be better or do you want to get better? That's my question. If you've progressed so far into something and all it takes is one slip up for you to come back to something, what does that say about you? What does that say about how easily you will let your emotions sway you? People make mistakes every single day. People make mistakes with how they speak to themselves. And I mean mistake in the sense of, you know, whatever you may be viewing as negative, or whatever you may be doing that is actually negative and not good for you. Right? So many of us do that. If not to ourselves, which most of the time, if you're hurting other people, you're also hurting yourself. But if not to yourself, then to someone else. In a world where there's already so much to think about, to get overwhelmed by, to stress about, you know, even thinking about just daily stresses, good lives in your mind and bad does too. But when it comes to living your life in a story that specifically resonates with you, in a reality that resonates with you, and again, this picture will be painted differently for everyone, does that dream reality of yours have you criticizing yourself for the person you used to be? You know what I mean? Like, take a moment to visualize who you used to be. Now, likely you're still connected to that version of yourself because guess what? It's you. But that's still a version of you that was doing the best that they could with the knowledge that they had at that time. Okay? Everyone is doing the very best they can. And that may be a phrase, depending on who you ask, that'll piss some people off. Because, you know, everyone has different life cards. So to hear somebody say, everyone is doing the best they can, and then they compare themselves, you know, say this person who is receiving this message is like, well, no, they're not. Like, look at everything I'm doing. Look at how little this person is doing. Again, it's with that element of sympathy that they are doing the best they can, because that is their life, and they are living their life in the version of themselves at that time to the best of their ability. Now, 5 years is a huge difference. Who you were 5 years ago is probably nothing like the person you are now. And who you will be in 5 years will likely be nothing like the person you are today. So that's why it's important, when things like this come up, when you take the wrong step and you slip into something that's old and familiar, are you going to count the day that you screwed up as the most important day? Or are you going to count the days behind that have been stacked up over time that you've invested into not consistently falling? Okay? The most relieving part of this all, in my opinion, is that this is all for something. Okay? That there is a greater purpose as to why some of us go through specific challenges. To me, in some way, like, the more that I reflect and the more that I look at my life, the cards that I've been dealt, it seems to me like I have attracted specific situations, that my brain has purposely gone to certain places, okay? And I know that may seem wild to say, because some people are very self-destructive, but don't you think that everything happens for a reason? Don't you think that certain pain that you've gone through in your life was of value, was to teach you something, okay? Was for you to explore yourself in a way that you never would have had the opportunity to. It's really all about perspective. I have trains that go by every single day where I live. Whether I like the noise that they make, that train has a purpose, okay? That train has a purpose to pass. Whether it's carrying people or things, that's its job. Now you have to ask yourself, purpose-wise, what is your job? Because yes, people will always have room to criticize you. People will always nitpick others for their mistakes. I get that. Like, I know I'm not perfect myself. There are things I've done that I hate, that kind of eat me alive at night sometimes, you know? But do you think the train, again, metaphorical analogy, do you think the train that has the job of carrying these people over to a destination, or again, carrying literal things, is that something that the train even has time to like sit and think about? Granted, it's not a person, it's a train. But you know what I'm getting at here. We know in ourselves what we have to do. I genuinely think it's useless to torture yourself and to beat yourself up about things that have happened that you know now, with a greater frame of mind, with a greater state of mind, that you would not do again. Okay, you've got to give yourself forgiveness. Okay, I don't care how old you are. I don't care how many times you've made the same mistake over and over again. I don't care. Because the truth of the matter is, sometimes our brains compel us to do weird things, and it almost feels like we're under a trance when we do specific things, whether we react emotionally to something, whether we act physically towards something. Again, I'm not saying that I condone people doing bad things, but in a world where being human has duality, we make a choice every single day, whether we are harsh to ourselves and our biggest critics, or if we're our biggest fans and supporters. I appreciate myself enough to the point where I won't let myself go. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna like constantly let myself make mistakes. Like, I'm not gonna constantly seek that, because I know I have more to do. I have better to do here. But if I slip up, there's an opportunity for me to learn from that. If I slip up, I know that if I take myself down the rabbit hole of saying things about myself that are shit, of dwelling on things that I've done, that's not gonna get me anywhere. right? The time will still pass. The train will still go by with things and people. Life will not stop by you dwelling on things. It won't. Life will pass us all by if we just sit here and relish. And I know relish is usually a good term, but it's almost like you're bathing in bad, right? You know, if you have a choice to fill up your bath with whatever you want, wouldn't you want it to be good? If you had a choice to drink a beverage that's either good or bad, be honest with yourself. What would you pick? Because I know based off of every situation that I've gone through, yes, I'll be harsh. Yes, I'll have my moments. But I know if I keep that up for too long, I'm not going to progress. It's like admitting to someone else that you've fucked up, that you've done something wrong, and saying it out loud. Okay? In order to move through anything in life that has the capacity to keep you up at night, that has the capacity to keep you stuck, you have to give it a place to breathe. Because I swear, keeping thoughts in your mind, as much as they arise from our mind, as much as they're born in our mind, they're not meant to live there. We have to keep the ball rolling when it comes to our thoughts. If they stay stagnant in your mind, how are you going to grow? Right? Again, going back to the train, if that train just decided to stop, and if it had its own mind and it decided to stop, how are people going to get home? How is that cargo or whatever is on that train going to get to its final destination? It won't. And it's the same thing with being enough in reflection to the point where you're like, yeah, I cannot carry on the self-loathing. I cannot carry on plummeting my own self-esteem if I know that there is better for me. You just can't. You can't do that to yourself. Like, the moment that you can catch yourself in that wave, get out. Get out, I'm telling you. That is the best thing you can do for yourself. And again, obviously give yourself credit where credit is due. Be kind to yourself and say, yeah, like, I did all this. I may have messed up. Cool, so what? We all mess up. There are so many of us that could sit there and say, if only I'd done that. If only I'd done this. You cannot rewrite the past. It just is what it is. Embrace it. Embrace it, because the more honest that you are with yourself, the less that you will have to feel like you're hiding who you are to other people. That's the thing, because if you have to feel like, you know, you're convincing yourself that maybe what you did was justifiable, and you know deep down it wasn't. We all have a conscience, right? For a reason. Again, if you have to lie to yourself and convince yourself that something bad that you did was actually good, then how does that translate into your relationships with other people? Again, I feel like in some way the relationship we have with ourselves is so unique. I don't think anyone can ever have a relationship with us like we do with ourselves. It would be impossible. Even with like your romantic partner, they're never gonna know you like you know yourself. Why? Because maybe you don't even know yourself. Every single day changes. We're adapting, we're evolving. We sometimes don't even have time to catch up with ourselves. So that's the tricky thing about human life. It's like, are you gonna be self-sabotaging today? Or are you gonna look at it for what it is? Feel the emotion. Don't let it drag you to places that'll make it worse though. Right? It's like when kids will scrape their knee and then a scab will form. And then obviously the scab is a reminder that, like, I scraped my knee. Now, are you picking the scab of your own problems in your life? Or are you acknowledging that, yes, I've done this and it hurt me because the action that I did, maybe I knew it wasn't good, but I'm destined for better. Screw that. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to pick the scab, because I know if I pick the scab, it's not going to heal in time or as quickly as it possibly could. Moral of the story: make mistakes, okay? Make mistakes as many times as you need to for your mind to stop torturing itself. The less that you can do to torture yourself in this life, and the more that you can do to take care of yourself, to cherish yourself, to appreciate yourself, and even love yourself through the good and bad, that is genuinely the definition of unconditional love. Because if you can look at yourself, again, at face value, say you could like clone yourself and look back at yourself like a mirror. If you could look at yourself right now and say, you know, I've known you from birth, literally, until right now, okay? I know what you've done that is good. I know what you hold deep down within you that you resent yourself for. And if you can look at yourself for both sides of you and say, that's okay. You did everything you could with the knowledge that you had at that time. Keep that philosophy with you, and then nothing can go wrong with your progression, with your self-development, because again, that's how open-minded you're willing to be with yourself. Make mistakes, learn from them, okay? And do not, I'm going to say this with conviction, do not torture yourself, okay? We do that enough. We criticize ourselves enough. Stop it. Genuinely stop. Okay, it's not doing anything positive for you to sit in those feelings. I get it. Pain demands to be felt. Cool. But to sit in it, to drown in it, because if you drown, you cannot get back up. If you come to a complete halt, the idea of you moving forward will be less and less attractive. Your metaphorical train wheels will start to rust. Okay? Be kind to yourself. And not even in like a corny, oh my god, rainbows and sunshines. Like, be super kind. Be super kind. Just be good to yourself. Genuinely. Just be good. Okay? And remember, take care of your own life.